What's up guys, breaking news just came out that Senator Joe Manchin said he will agree to more stimulus. This is your stimulus check update, stimulus package update and breaking news update. Take a look at the headlines coming out in the last 24 hours. Manchin says that he passed part of Biden's agenda, but Democrats may have to write the bill for him. However, we're hearing that this is significant progress from where we've been. Senator Joe Manchin shut down the Build Back Better bill back in December, saying he couldn't get on board with the provisions. Then just a couple of weeks ago, we heard that they were trying to revive it, and he said with concerns about its record 40-year high inflation, he could not support it. And now, in the last 24 hours, we're hearing he is on board. Second, White House warns of fall and winter surges without additional pandemic funding. They are requesting $10 billion for therapeutics and vaccines to battle the pandemic. Also, more stimulus for businesses, more direct assistance in the form of gas stimulus checks, child tax credits, and child care funding on an assortment of different provisions. 100 million new pandemic infections across the US next fall and winter. If new funding is not approved, warned the White House. This is what's happening in the US right now. The 7-day moving average is moving upward to 71,000. There were just 11,000 yesterday, but we are on an upward trend, and they're warning that it could continue to go higher. Now also, we've got an update that the president is trying to address all of these issues we're hearing, and tomorrow there's expected to be some big announcement about inflation. Let's go ahead and dive into the news. Senate Democrats have to tackle major issue facing many Americans at their return to office child care. NBC News has learned that Senator Patty Murray is working on a slimmed-down child care proposal. It will reportedly be less than half the size of what was proposed last year as part of the Build Back Better plan. But will it be enough to win over Senator Joe Manchin? Senator Manchin has told that he's still interested in passing a major piece of legislation with elements of President Biden's agenda with only Democratic votes. And he specified the issues that he's willing to tackle in such a bill. That is tax hikes on upper earners and corporations, prescription drug savings, a major investment in climate change, mitigation, as well as American energy. And he wants to have the savings for deficit reduction. Very notably, childcare spending is not part of his ask, which makes it very unlikely at this point that he's going to come around to support a major childcare bill. Now further, sources familiar with the senator said that he is unlikely to write a bill himself, that he has laid out his broader parameters on the issues that he's willing to tackle, and he believes it's up to the White House and Democratic leaders to put pen to paper to create a piece of legislation around those parameters, get the party in line, and bring that to him and pass it through the House and the Senate. Why did they expect him to come around when he's been abundantly clear that this should not be in the so-called budget reconciliation process? Well, the eyes said, firstly, childcare is an urgent crisis. There are funding cliffs, and passing this funding now has to be done through reconciliation. And if it is held off, then Republicans are not going to play ball. There's no hope of getting the 60 votes, and the issue will simply fade away. Still, the reality is they need Joe Manchin to get 50 votes for any bill. Senator Manchin has become a bit of a villain on the Democratic primary trail. There are several candidates who are trying to tie their more moderate Democratic opponents to Joe Manchin. That includes Jessica Cisneros in Texas, who on this network recently called her opponent Congressman Henry Clay or Joe Manchin of the House for opposing a bill to codify the protections of Roe v. Wade in Oregon. There's competitive primary with Kurt Schrader, the congressman facing Jamie McLeod Skinner. She also calls him the Joe Manchin of the House for resisting major pieces of President Biden's agenda over in Pennsylvania, and a Senate Democratic primary Congressman Conor Lamb has been endorsed by Manchin. John Fetterman, the Democratic front-runner in that race, has been going around Pennsylvania saying, "I am not a Joe Manchin Democrat. If that's what you want, you shouldn't vote for me." And he looked over the lamp in a recent debate and said, "This man is your mentor. He is endorsed you." They are signaling not only to progressive voters, but they are also trying to reach moderate Democrats who support Biden's agenda. They don't like the fact that Manchester is blocking that agenda. So it's a bit of a situation where Manchester is a man on an island all by himself and Democratic candidates. Unusually from previous primaries, see an opportunity to attack the more moderate candidate through the prism and gain a leg up in these primaries that are coming up. So yes, Senator Joe Manchin becoming a midterm election villain. Joe Manchin says that he is still interested in passing major pieces of President Joe Biden's agenda, but it is said that Democrats may be making a mistake by waiting for him to lay out precisely what he could support, as he has expressed interest in passing the bill through the filibuster-proof reconciliation process. So he's saying he will unify with Democrats to pass something through that it could raise taxes, reduce the deficit, cut prescription drug costs, and fund energy and climate measures, even though some Democrats fear that he is just running out the clock. He also began leading bipartisan talks on energy over the last 2 weeks, prompting worries among Democrats. Some people believe that Democrats are making an error by passively waiting for him to craft his own detailed legislation, which many in the party have grumbled he should do ever since he rejected Biden's Build Back Better plan back in December. People familiar with the Manchin's thinking say that he has repeatedly laid out his demands in public, but that he is unlikely to put pen to paper to write a reconciliation bill, and that's the job of Democratic leaders. Now, the best approach could be for the White House to come up with a plan, get his approval, and then hand it off to Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer and Speaker of the House Nancy Pelosi to keep everybody in line, said a person familiar with the Manchin's thinking, who requested a non-amenity to speak candidly. He's not going to write a partisan bill. Senator Joe Manchin is one for bipartisanship. He is against the party, just overruling the minority. It is said that the White House wants more than it does. So they are saying if they want to pass something through, they need to take the initiative, try to get him on board, because he's in a position where he doesn't really care as much if anything passes. So we are hearing that he's on board, but he's not super motivated to take action. We will have more updates as the president is pushing for these progressives and Democrats want to stay in power. And also the president is going to be speaking on the state of inflation and how he's going to be helping out the economy this Tuesday.